Hi, so book reviews. As some of you know, because you've had library lessons with me or English lessons with me, you know that I am a absolutely huge reader and I read lots and lots and lots, and to ask me to choose my favourite book is always really difficult. But what I thought I'd do today instead was recommend 3 books to you, because I think that these books can be read in any year group in the high school. Okay, so you can see from my background that they are there. These are the 2. I've actually lent my stepdaughter the first one at the moment, which is obviously called The Hunger Games. Then you get Catching Fire, which is this one, and finally The Mockingjay, which is this one. These are a trilogy, so 3 books written by a lady called Suzanne Collins. And they follow the story of a girl called Katniss, and they are absolutely brilliant. So Katniss lives in a different world to ours. It's got the capital, and then it has districts, and I kind of always imagine them like as in circles that are coming out of the district. So the main one is in the capital in the middle, and then obviously you get district 1, 2, 3, 4, and she actually lives in district 12, which is the furthest one from the capital, also they think, in the first book anyway. And what has happened is years beforehand there has been a rebellion, and those people that lived in the districts decided that they didn't like the capital and what was happening in the capital, and so what they did was they rebelled against the capital, and unfortunately, as happens with quite a lot of rebellions, in the end the government and the capital that were in charge were able to put down the rebellion. And to make people remember about this rebellion and to remember how terrible it was and what an awful thing it was, they come up with this idea of the Hunger Games. Now, the Hunger Games are pretty scary, and they are a fight to the death. And what happens is each district has to put forward 2 tributes, a boy tribute and a girl tribute. And they use children specifically because obviously kids are far well, A, because they're so young, it always looks more horrific, and 2, they obviously have parents, grandparents, etc., who are going to miss them and remember, because they would have been around at the time of the rebellion, and they're sort of sacrificing their children for this game. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a massive game where 24 kids go into an arena. They call it the game arena, and somebody has designed various different things that they have to go through, but their ultimate goal is to kill each other and to be the last man standing. Katniss's sister is actually picked out of the hat, and I believe, if I remember correctly, she is the first person ever to sort of offer herself for the games, so that her sister doesn't have to go. It's her younger sister, and what follows in the first book is her and the other guy from her district, Peter, their story during the Hunger Games. Now, what happens? I'm not going to tell you exactly, but what happens from this is that the districts start to see her as kind of a role model and someone to follow, to perhaps overthrow the government again, because obviously the Hunger Games is not what everybody in the districts wants to be taking part in, and the capital are quite good at putting down, shall we say, any kind of even minor rebellion or kind of thing that doesn't agree with the capital with quite a lot of force, and in fact people do lose their lives. So they sort of see Katniss as this kind of symbol of hope, and consequently the following 2 books, The Catching Fire and The Mockingjay, are the story of what the districts do and what she does to assist this new rebellion to try to overthrow the government, or the capital, sorry. And they are really good. They are best read as the 3, obviously in the right order. There are some films that go with them. I personally find it easier to read stuff like this than it is to perhaps watch it, but they are very good. But perhaps I think they're probably like a 12 or a 15, so it might be that you can't watch the films just yet without parental consent. But if you can see in the background, if I sort of wave my what is it called, mouse around, you can see this book here called Songbirds and Snakes, which is it's almost like, well, they call it a prequel, so it this book comes before these three, and it is all to do with Snow and his story. Now, in these books, he's called President Snow, so he is in charge of the capital, so he's in charge of that, their world. But the book is actually from when he's a lot younger, and obviously he's not president at this point, and it's his story. So that too, I borrowed it from the library. It's a good book to read, and it's a good kind of way of showing him. But I feel that having finished the book, that there are going to be more. So I await Susan Collins' subsequent books, because I think that will then give us even more of the story about President Snow and how he becomes the president. I know Mrs. Bell has got these in the library, and I know several people that have read them within school, so don't just take my word for it. Ask your friends, and they might have already read it and can tell you a little bit more about it. But I can't recommend them enough. They are a great story, lots of action, lots of slightly scary, horror-y type bits, especially when they're in the games themselves. And of course, there is ultimately that kind of love story, because every good book should have a bit of romance in, so that's in there as well. So watch, read, and enjoy this trilogy, because I recommend it to you.